Guests on The Ron Van Dam Show are compensated for their appearance with an autographed photo of Ron, a leftover copy of that wedding book he wrote, an IOU for $10, and several expired coupons from a local pizza place. And no, nobody told them this ahead of time. This is The Ron Van Dam Show on New England Broadcasting.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. It's The Ron Van Dam Show.
Okay, thank you.
Hold on tight, things can get a bit weird, if you like that sort of thing.
Hey, welcome to the program. It is The Ron Van Dam Show. Yes, it is. I'm not in the mood to argue with you. Thanks for coming. Look, you're here, I'm here. Let's do a show, shall we? I don't know who you are. I don't know what your name is. It's not important. The fact is, we're both stuck here. Let's make the best of it. I guarantee when this show is over, you'll walk away a better person than you were before the show started. That's a guarantee, although I don't have it in writing because it's not true. I've been doing this radio show for over 30 years, which makes me a little bit stupid, but also quite knowledgeable in the field in which I dwell. Okay, that's nice. Our theme song is written and composed and all that stuff and performed by Jason Shaw, who does our opening closing theme, some incidental music incidentally. Thank you, Jason Shaw. Your announcer is John Shanahan, comedy writer, incredible guy. Check him out. Yeah, Hypnagogue. Go there. Google that. He's got a great show of his own. And then there's Nicole Reed, who's one of the producers of this program. She books many of the national interviews that we do. And she's that British voice that you hear at the beginning of the program. And those are just some of the people that make this show possible. There's more people that make it possible, but they don't want their names mentioned in any way, shape, or form. And that's the introduction to the show. That took about 2.5 minutes. Don't worry, the show's only half an hour long, if that. It's not a big deal. You can handle this. I've seen you do worse, so just take it easy and be quiet, okay? I will take it from here. I'm like an Uber driver. You just sit in the back of my smelly car, and I'll get you to your destination in one piece. Beyond that, I can't really guarantee anything, actually. Okay. Well, I got a call last night in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning. It was the head of the Democratic National Committee asking me if I wanted to run for president just in case. And I said, well, I'd love to save this country. I really would. From autocracy and a dictatorship, I'd love to do it. But problem is I can't run for president. I have a dental appointment on Tuesday of next week, and I just can't do it. I have a lot on my plate. And I haven't finished eating yet. So, sorry. Ron, don't you want to serve your country? No, don't. Thanks. Bye-bye. Okay. Anyway, that didn't really happen. Oh, my God. You thought that actually happened? Did I actually got a call 3 o'clock in the morning from the Democratic National Committee? No, it didn't really. I made it up. You're so gullible. Oh, my God. Oh, you must get scammed all the time. You're probably engaged to a Nigerian prince or something. You're so gullible. Oh, my God. Anyway, I was noticing recently that we name things very weirdly. We think that because we're in the human race, like we're people, I mean, technically, we're people, we're human beings, that we are like the king of life. We're not. There are also animals and all kinds of things that are living in their own worlds. I mean, if you're a member of the human race, the only thing that you have that the animals don't is the ability to fuck things up for yourself. Other than that, I don't see the difference. We name things. We have to name things. We have to give them human names. I don't know why we do this. Why do we have to name everything? What's up with that? I mean, I guess it's better than numbers. Hey, I was speaking to number 72-3572. Oh, how is he? Fine. He's thinking of changing his number. Oh, wow, good luck. Can you do that legally? I think you can. Now, we name things human things. There's Hurricane Beryl, Beryl. That's apparently a human name. I've never met a Beryl before. I'd like you to meet Beryl. I don't understand what you just said. Beryl. I've never heard of that name before. Did you just take a lot of letters and put them together for no reason whatsoever? Is it Beril? No, here's the twist on this. It's Beryl. Oh, come on. Stop it. No one's named that. Unless there's something wrong with you mentally and you just screwed things up on the application, on the birth certificate. But other than that, who's naming Beryl? Wow. But there's a Hurricane Beryl. And the joke is, and it's not funny because people died, or at least lost everything they had. Beryl went barreling through Texas. Oh, I get what you just did there. You took a name and you turned it into a verb. Oh, very clever. You are so clever. Caused a lot of destruction. And now it's moving through the center of the country just as a tropical horrible storm, which, by the way, if you live in the middle of the country, your storms are called tornadoes. These are large cones of wind that will sweep you into the sky with roofs of houses and cows, and that's what you get storm-wise. I've often wondered, I should pick a storm, which storm would be the worst? Because all these storms are viable in various parts of the country. You could have a tornado. That's a scary piece of shit there, huh? A tornado. Or you could have a hurricane, which is, I think I'd go for the hurricane, even though that can bring flooding and wind damage and trees down and power loss. I mean, there's a lot that goes on with that. And, of course, in the winter, they're called blizzards. Same thing. It's just a different season. I think I'd go with that. I don't want the tornado thing. That's a little too scary for me. That's a little too infinitely death-defying. I can't do that. Earthquake? Where are you going to go? Just jump in the sky as long as you can? Earthquake? No. That's got to be the worst, maybe. I mean, well, the ground is opening up. Okay, have a nice life. Oh, my God. Earthquake? Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no, 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 no. Wildfires. Ooh, used to call them forest fires. That's what it was, forest fires, because they took place in the forest. We have to go generic. I'm sorry. We're going to go generic. Now they're wildfires. As a matter of fact, remember Smokey the Bear? Oh, yeah. Only you can prevent forest fires. Do you remember that? I was the voice. No, I wasn't. I could have been, but I wasn't. Only you can prevent forest fires. It was a bear wearing a camping hat and holding a shovel, which bears tend to do on their off days. But now it's only you can prevent wildfires. Wildflowers? I don't know. But it's wild instead of forest. I don't know. I have no idea why. I don't know. But those are bad. Those are bad. Those are bad. When they're coming, it's like a tsunami of fire. That's not a good thing. Tsunamis. Again, where do you go? I mean, I'm like, whoa, that's like really bad too. I mean, all these things are horrible. They're horrible. So pick your storm. Pick where you want to live. See what you're going to survive. The avalanche, again, that's a tsunami of snow. So we got Hurricane Beryl. And I don't know. We have to name these storms. We've got to give them names. We have to humanize everything around us, whether it be good or bad. Can you imagine like a Hurricane Amy? Because they usually start at the beginning of the alphabet, of course. See how far we can go, and then when we run out of American names, we have to get into the Greek alphabet. You know, it's fun too. That's fun too. Hurricane Amy. If your name is Amy, interesting, right? Hey, Amy demolished our town. Wow. Why, did she give all the football team at the high school various sexual diseases? No, it's a hurricane, Ron. Oh, okay. What if you dated somebody named Amy and then you found out that she ravished your town? And then we take some human names and we turn them into these awful, awful things. Like, you know that person there? She's a Karen. Is that her name? No, she's a Karen. Why are you taking a name and then assigning a classified personality to them? What is that about? Who does that? Social media. Social media does it. Oh, okay. Thank you again. We name our pets. And I mean, you have to call your pet something. You have to train them with some kind of name. I get that. But it's interesting that we call our pets human names. I've had pets all my life. All my life, I've had pets of various types and sizes and various things. Felines, canines, turtles, fish, birds, you name it, I've had them. I've always had an animal in my life. And I'm not talking about the human people. I'm talking about the actual animals. But I've never named them a human name ever because I think that's a little bit odd. I think it's too much. If your dog's name is Bob, I have to question you. I have to question what's going on in your head when you name your dog, especially, a human name. Yes, I have to get home to Christopher. I've left Christopher in the house alone for 10 hours. You've named your dog Christopher? No, that's my baby's name. Oh, you left your baby in... Yeah, well, okay. I was afraid it was your dog. Who names their dog Christopher? I mean, that is... Don't name your pets human names because they're not humans. What are you doing? You name them after their personalities. I have to get home to Fluffy. Because my cat is fluffy. It's a fluffy kind of thing. That's one of the characteristics. So I call the cat Fluffy. And people always say, oh, that's a beautiful name. I mean, what's your cat's name? Samantha. Samantha. What's your cat's name? Karen. Why do you do that? Why do you do that? It's an odd thing to do. You should name your dog Beryl. I don't know why. I still don't know what it means or why you would do something like that. It's beyond me. We have to humanize everything. We do. It's part of what we do. We throw human tags on things. It makes us feel more comfortable, like it's our kingdom, and these things have been admitted into our kingdom by name rights. It's kind of odd. I had a friend, and that's the end of the sentence. I had a friend with a dog, and he named the dog something very, very odd. It was Alexander Barrington. And I what? My dog's name is Alexander Barrington. You gave your dog a first and last name? Yes, I did. Why would you do that? I don't know. Just seemed like the right thing at the time. Because my dog looks like an Alexander Barrington. What are you talking about? What does an Alexander Barrington look like? What are you talking about? And when I said I had a friend that named his dog Alexander Barrington, it was not a friend, really. It was an acquaintance. And by the term acquaintance, I mean someone that I knew existed on the planet, but with whom I had no relationship beyond finding out that his dog's name was Alexander Barrington, because that was the end of that. I don't know if you're a serial killer or what, but if you're naming your dog a first and last name, and the last name isn't even yours, and even if that would be even freakier if you named your dog with your last name. My name is Joseph Johnson. Joseph Johnson. But you're Barry Johnson. Yes, and this is Joseph. No. And I believe that's also a biblical name. So okay, now no. Do not talk to me. Do not come near me. Let's make believe you don't exist. Go have a life somewhere else. I don't have to know everybody. That's not my job. So you're one of the people I don't want to know. Okay, because I don't understand what you're doing, where you're coming from, or what's going on in that brain of yours. Or what kind of accident you had. Was it a car accident that caused you to have these mental deficiencies? And oh, God, just go away. Find people that understand you. That won't be me. I don't have to understand everything. That's what I learned. Ooh, that's what I learned. How old are you? When I turned 50, I had such a revelation. It wasn't mid-age crisis or anything. I just had a revelation where I don't have to understand everything. I stop struggling trying to figure out the world. You can't do it because it's so messed up. It has nothing to do with you. You didn't cause this problem. Leave it alone. Let them deal with it. They made the problem. You take care of it. You got to create your own world. You just have to. You've got to. That's why I'll never go into politics, because then you're entering the world of everybody else, where everything is, nobody's happy with anything. If you find someone who likes this, then you're going to find someone standing right next to that person that doesn't like the same thing. It's a lose-lose, 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 you lose, total loss situation. No politics for me. Anyway, we name our let's get back to the theme. We name our things human things. We just do. All right, enough about that. I have an interesting guest today. As a matter of fact, my guest will become a frequent guest on this program. He really will. His name is Christopher Elliot. He lives not in one place. He is a journalist, he's a consumer advocate, and he lives all across the world. Yeah, he does. Today he'll be in France, tomorrow he'll be in Italy, the next day he'll be in Indonesia. He just lives at all parts of the world. He has no permanent address, basically. Interesting man within his own right. Been doing what he's been doing for a long time. The thesis of what he does is a thesis what I do. And that is to look at something that we deal with every single day that really makes no sense, and we try to help people out to make sense out of things. He joins us momentarily in his first interview with us. He also has a international column that you can follow as well. He's a good guy. He's a good guy, man. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. I like good guys. But first, a commercial, and then we'll join him.
First, they put jalapenos on your hamburger, but that wasn't hot enough. Then came habaneros, but still, that wasn't hot enough. Next came the ghost pepper, and still, that was not hot enough for you. Well, buckle up, tough guy, because Burger Guy thinks you're not man enough to handle the heat of our new, sweet, flaming mother of heaven. What the f*** did you assholes do to my hamburger burger? Featuring two of Burger Guy's signature paper-thin patties topped with an experimental hot sauce made from a concentrated hot pepper extract. that has only been approved for military use by North Korea. This burger will burn a hole through every inch of your intestines and then slap your mama on its way out for good measure. This burger is so hot they wouldn't let us test it on prisoners. Death row prisoners. But for a limited time, you can try your luck at your local burger guy. If you're not a complete pussy.
All purchases of the Sweet Flaming Mother of Heaven What the F*** Did You Assholes Do to My Hamburger Burger must be pre-approved by a certified attorney at law with proper notification of next of kin. Sweet Flaming Mother of Heaven What the F*** Did You Assholes Do to My Hamburger Burger must not be consumed within 500 yards of schools or within 1,000 yards of open flame. All Burger Guy franchisees reserve the right to ignore cries for mercy or requests for immediate medical attention.
Christopher Elliot joins us now. He's a journalist. His opinions are all over the place, published and otherwise on all sorts of medias. Thanks for being with us, Chris.
Yeah, you bet.
You do a very interesting thing, which we love. You bring up things that people go through but don't really talk about too much, and all of a sudden it's like, yeah, that's true. Yeah, what do I do about that? How long have you been doing this, Chris?
Oh, a while now. Yeah. Well, I've been a consumer advocate for almost 30 years.
Wow.
So, yeah.
And people actually come to you with their questions and concerns?
Oh, yeah. In fact, I started a nonprofit organization a couple of years back, and we are busier than ever. We're getting literally tens of thousands of requests every year from people who just need help and don't know where to go.
Yeah. I think if everybody knew you did this, then you probably have more requests than you could possibly even handle. But that's the way it works.
Yeah, well, I work with volunteers, so they help out with answering questions.
Excellent.
That works really good. And by the way, if any of your listeners are interested, the website is elliottadvocacy.org. So that's 2 L's and 2 T's. Shameless plug. Sorry, Ron.
No, it's perfect. It's a good thing that you're doing. Let's talk about some things that are rather topical. I've traveled quite extensively through Europe. I know that you do that. You actually abode there for much of the time, so you're incredibly well traveled. And those that don't leave the United States ever really have very little concept as to how we're viewed in other countries. Is that an accurate statement?
Yeah, I would say that's accurate.
Yeah.
So my qualifications are that basically I'm on the road 365 days a year. Wow. I don't have a permanent home. Mm-hmm. And right now you're reaching me, I'm in Berlin. Oof. So I have been in Europe for, there's this little thing called the Schengen Agreement, which only allows us to stay for 3 months. So I'm a month and a half into my Schengen days.
Wow. How long have you been traveling this extensively?
Full-time for the last, since 2017. So it's been a little bit a while. Wow. But I started traveling in the United States. I had kids who are teenagers, so I was traveling with them. Yep. And now they're all off in school, and I still have one son with me, but we've been a little bit more adventurous, so we've been traveling to other countries now outside the U.S.
Wonderful. Just out of curiosity, what did you do during the pandemic? Were you held up in any particular location for an extended period of time?
Oh, great question. Yeah. I was in Nice, France when the pandemic broke out.
Not bad, actually.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but it was, let me tell you, in Nice was shut down really, really hard. Oh. You couldn't leave. The French had these regulations. You could not go within a kilometer of your residence. So we couldn't even go down to the water, really.
Oh, my God.
The police would be there, and they'd stop you. And you couldn't say to them, I don't speak any French, because they all speak English. So,
wow.
But we had really good bread, and after a couple of weeks, we went back to the States, and we stayed there until the pandemic ended.
Wow. All right, I'm going to ask you, the politics in the United States now are quite tumultuous, and the next few months are going to be a roller coaster ride that I didn't ever want to be on. How are we viewed in general in other countries, especially in Europe and our allies, as to what's going on here? Because there's some tumultuous situations, obviously in France, in other countries where governments are switched over on a constant basis, even in England. how do they view what's going on in the United States?
Yeah, I realize, Ron, I forgot to answer your question. So
no, that's
let
good.
me get to that. It depends which country you're in.
Mm-hmm.
There are countries where Americans are well liked,
mm-hmm.
and I would say generally they're pretty tolerant of our politics, even as our politics become much more polarized. So right now, during an election year, things are getting a little crazy. I mean, even back in the States, things are getting a little crazy.
Yeah.
And they're not going to get much better. I mean,
No.
I think we're in for a really wild ride this summer with the conventions coming up, and we're going to see a lot of things that maybe we didn't expect happening. And so if you're staying in a country where that's generally friendly
mm-hmm.
to the United States, you're probably going to be okay. Like Germany, for example, they love Americans here. Other countries, maybe not so much. I mean, you go to a place, to some of the Middle Eastern countries,
sure.
they may be a little bit less. So I think, and I hate answering a question like the one you just asked me with it depends, but it really does depend. But generally speaking, though, Americans tend to be among some of the more obnoxious travelers.
No kidding.
And so, we show up with our sneakers and our T-shirts and our MAGA hats, and we tend to make ourselves known.
Yeah.
And so I think the combination of what's going on right now in the U.S. with the elections and the fact that, maybe we're not necessarily seen as the most polite travelers, maybe this is the summer to really think about your image, and that was the reason that I wrote that article.
Yeah, and very effective as well. Because no matter what happens in the election, the results of it are going to be incredibly difficult one way or the other. One of them will not take no for an answer. So, I mean, it's going to be an interesting thing even after the results have materialized. But yeah, very interesting. I have some friends who actually live in Russia, and they tell me that people are wearing like football jerseys from America and Coca-Cola T-shirts. I mean, they seem to, as even in communist countries, it's like, whoa! It seems like they just embrace everything that's branded here.
Oh, I mean, you should go to Vietnam.
Really?
Vietnam is a communist country, and when you land at the airport, you see the border guards in their uniforms with the red star, and you're thinking to yourself, "Oh man, this is just like those Vietnam movies, with the Vietnam era movies, and then you get out into the streets in places like Hoi An, and you see all these logo T-shirts and very commercialized, and you think to yourself, okay, what alternate reality have I just stepped into?
Exactly. It's almost like, how are they even allowed to wear that in a communist country? But I guess they are.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy. All right, I wanted to hit one subject before we part this time around. A very interesting subject that you brought up, and that was tipping. Because now when you use your credit card and tap, it suggests what you tip them, and that gets into the guilt area of like, what the hell should I do here? It seems like an incredible imposition where tipping used to be kind of a private, under the table thing no one really knew until you were out of there. Now it's like, oh my God, this has become a problem, I think.
It's become a huge problem, and it's not just these new terminals that they've installed, these new payment terminals, where you actually put a gratuity into the system before you've even received the product. We've had a situation where tips are being solicited all over the place in places that they used to not be.
Yeah.
For example, grocery stores. I had a guy who said his plumber asked him for a tip.
Really?
And it's just kind of getting out of control. So some Americans, as I noted in my story, have actually stopped tipping.
Really?
They just say, I'm just done with it. And the ones who still do tip, I wrote a follow-up story about how there's a phenomenon called tip rage, where people are just very angry that people keep asking them for money, even after they've settled their bill.
Yes.
And So really, I think what we're headed toward right now is just a moment of our time when people really have to start thinking about pricing honesty. Is how much is the price that I'm being quoted for an item really the price that I have to pay, or should I be adding 20% or 30% to it? And if I don't, am I a bad person? These are questions that we're going to be wrestling with for the next, couple of years here until we finally, I think, realize that, like in the rest of the world, we really tipping is something that we shouldn't probably be doing anymore.
Oh, so it is different in the rest of the world, or it's different here?
It is different in the rest of the world. Although I've seen some tips being solicited outside the U.S., but in places like Japan and Australia, you see that, especially in Japan, it's considered almost offensive to tip someone.
Wow.
So yeah, I think that there's a better way of doing it, and maybe we should be looking to Japan for that.
Yeah, maybe we should, because now it's intimidating. If you don't tip enough, what's going to happen? I mean, are they not going to give me the quality? Are they going to, next time, are they going to shun me? They're going to throw water in my face? I mean, it's almost like an intimidation move, and that's not cool. Once again, where people can throw their questions towards you and follow you.
Yes, if you have a question about any consumer problem and you need the help of a consumer advocate, you can reach me at elliottadvocacy.org, ELLIOTT, so it's Elliot with 2 L's and 2 T's, advocacy.org. I also have a newsletter, Elliot Confidential, also with 2 L's and 2 T's. So that's elliottconfidential.com. Would love to see you there, and always happy to answer your questions.
Yes, get into the Christopher Elliot world. It's fascinating, and it's a little bit of a load off your shoulders when you do something like that, when you participate and hear about those things that are bothering you that no one really talks about all that much. Well, that'll do it for me today. Thank you to Mr. Christopher Elliot, and thank you to you for being here. I'll be back again tomorrow with a brand new program. Hope you join me then, but until that time arrives, I wish you peace.